Greetings, everyone. This is your boy, Sam Oram, coming at you with another episode of the Deep Dive Podcast. Man, once again, I'm excited to be here today to share with you some empowerment and some entertaining. And our guest is someone that you've had an opportunity to listen to before, but we're going to take it a whole nother level today. But before I get into that, those of you who are listening to this podcast for the very first time, no matter where you are in the world, first of all, thank you for joining us. Please do us a favor, click like, subscribe, download, or share. We want to make sure that we continuously push this message of empowerment and entertainment around the world. So please do us that favor. Go ahead and subscribe to us. And anytime we update any podcast, anytime we add anything to it, you'll get an instant notification, be a push on your phones. So stay connected with us and what it is that we're doing. As we continue to grow, you're going to grow with us. And just an FYI, we'll be wrapping up season 1 in the next few weeks. And I'm telling you, season 2 is going to be absolutely incredible. We're planning some surprise guests from all over the world, some people that, you're going to be really excited about. We're launching the book and in a coaching series that we're going to tie into the podcast. So it's going to be incredible in season 2, but we'll talk about that in the next couple of weeks. Tonight, we definitely want to bring to you a gentleman that we've actually heard from before. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the first guest that's been on the Deep Dive podcast more than one time. So, he's special. This is a special guy. We had a great time in part 1 a few weeks ago. I think it was in May. We had a great time in terms of, just talking about preventing illness holistically. We had a great time in terms of interacting with each other. And I think, this particular guy, he means a lot to me, to be honest with you, to be transparent. This is like my brother, truly like my brother. And we have a lot of fun together. As a matter of fact, the last time we talked about, how I was kicking his butt in Madden, year after year, from crib all the way up to to him getting his doctorate. But now I come to find out, you'll hear about it soon, but I come to find out that he's secretly been practicing and honing his skills with all of these people who understand what Madden is all about. And then now, so he's trying to reel me in, but I'm going to get in the trenches myself and get my skills up before we get into it again. But I don't want to hold him from you anymore because, again, this is, even though we have a great time, even though this is my brother, let's not mistake it. This guy is, he has his master's, he's a doctor, he has done an incredible job through education, and he's super knowledgeable of everything that we're going to talk about this evening. So let me reintroduce to some and introduce to others my brother, my friend, my business partner, none other than Dr. David Dukes. How you doing, Dave?
Let's go, Sam. Let's go. I love it. I love that intro,
yes,
man.
sir.
Like my little nephew would say, let's go, man. I can't believe I'm honored that I am the first person to ever be on here twice.
First person, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like I need like a Hall of Fame plaque or something.
I'm telling you, man. People have been asking. Yep. Some of the people have been asking. I always get this from podcast guests. Man, I wish I had said this. I forgot about this, and this.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we can, do another podcast. I'm like, man, I'm just kind of booked up right now, but we'll get to it. But for you, my brother, it shows the respect that I have for you. And I always like to make that distinction between who you are as my friend and my brother, but also I want people to understand the magnitude of what you bring to the table. And it's no coincidence that you are the very first person to be on the Deep Dive podcast twice, because you are a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of information. You keep it real, as they say. So, yeah, man, it's all about you and what you got going on. So, like your nephew said, let's get it, man.
Let's go.
Let's go,
Sam.
Yeah,
man, I am so honored, man. That's the second time you gave me an awesome introduction. I promise you, we're gonna have to contact Don King, because after this, I'm really coming out to fight, man. Like,
There
we're
you
gonna be
go.
in Vegas somewhere, and I feel like that's your next career move, man. Out here announcing these fighters, because I'm just ready to come out the gate.
Hey man, let's make it happen, my brother. Let's make it happen.
Yeah,
What's
man.
interesting is when we talked about on part one, we talked about preventing illness holistically. You gave some incredible tips and just advice, just common sense, everyday advice in terms of, what we need to do to maintain our health, to continuously, be healthy and even without stressing. I think I was sharing before that, working out and exercise and all these things, I know how important it is, but realistic for me, and this is just my story, just being as busy as I am and really not a workout enthusiast, how would I take advantage of, being able to stay fit and stay healthy? You gave a lot of tips on that and how we're able to do that. For those individuals who are listening for the first time, we want to do a quick recap of some of those tips. And also feel free to go back to part one of the episodes with Dr. Dukes and listen to that. And you'll get some more detail. But just in a recap, Dave, could you just kind of share with us, just in some layman terms, some everyday things that we can do in terms of eating better, working out, just living that healthy quality life?
Right. So I know we mentioned it earlier, the first episode, working out. It doesn't have to be your conventional, I have to go to the gym, I need a gym membership, I need a personal trainer, I need a weight set. You don't have to do any of that. I mean, you can get free weights, you can get resistance bands, or you can just use your own body weight. You can do push-ups. I talked a lot about just getting up off the couch, walking to the mailbox, getting you some vitamin D from the sun, and just walking to the mailbox, taking a block, walk around your block. A lot of that stuff, you can just do that. Even if you don't like to work out, you can do things like, if you like to shop, you can go to the mall, shopping center. You like to window shop and just walk around. You like to get fancy, look nice, put on something, look nice, walk around the mall. If you like, outdoors, you can go to an outdoor venue like Atlantic Station and just walk around, get you some exercise in your head. At some point, you're not even thinking about exercising. You're thinking about, it looks like a nice shirt, in the window,
Right.
or, like I didn't know that movie was out. But you're still out getting exercise. So that's the really cool part about it. I talked about eating better. Eating better, you can do things like you can keep a diary of what you eat. So you're not eating the same thing over and over again. You can get coupons. You can, switch it up. You can look at different recipes online. You can, there's always a healthy alternative to what you're eating. A lot of people eat, strictly meat stuff or fried stuff. You can go bake. You can use less seasoning, less salt. You can do a lot of things to help you, just eat better, less sugar. It doesn't have to be super sweet. The Kool-Aid doesn't have to be super sweet.
Ghetto Kool-Aid.
It doesn't have to be watered down nasty, but just to be healthy.
Yeah.
You can do 2 spoons instead of 3. Just like baby steps. Little things like that.
Yeah.
I talked a little bit about mental health. I talked about having a pet. Something to come home to. It could be a dog. It could be a cat. It could be a parrot. It could be a guinea pig. Whatever whatever floats your boat.
Right.
Whatever you're into. Something that'll just give you a little sense of joy to be like, what, I get to come home to this today. And you walk in the door and the dog runs up to you, or just a little bit, sense of responsibility, so it's not like, oh, it's just me out here in life. It's like, well, I have to go home and I have to feed, my guinea pig, Mr. Bubbles, or, I have to do something. I have to water them. I have to take care of them.
Right.
You find yourself finding cute little outfits for them and having conversations with your friends. And, there are like groups that you can join. And these people share similar interests. And now all of a sudden you have a whole new group of friends, and you didn't even know about it just off of having a pet or having a plant, something to.
I don't know about a guinea pig though, bro.
I mean, that's I chose the extreme because I want to cover all my bases.
Well,
You
you
know, I feel
covered
like
it
a
with that. A
dog.
guinea pig.
I feel like
I don't
I
even
feel
know
like
what a guinea pig looked like. I heard of it, but I don't even know what a guinea
a
pig looked like.
right. Listen, you'd be surprised, man. People have ferrets, people have snakes, people have all different types of things where it's just like, yeah, never would I ever. I mean, you can
Right.
get an aquarium, you know, you can get a goldfish,
Yeah, I
you
can
know,
do
so
that. Now,
many.
that's a good one. You got a nice, saltwater fish
Mhm,
aquarium. I like the colorful fish. I guess they call them
you know,
saltwater. So that's a good one. I'm gonna tell you
get
something else
you.
that helped me a lot with my cholesterol, lowering my cholesterol. Something simple to the point you're making is I started using an air fryer a lot more.
Okay.
Being a country boy, I love to eat, love my fried chicken and all this other kind of stuff, right?
Right.
But I found that there's so many things that you can actually put in the air fryer, and it eliminates over a period of time, a lot of vegetable oils or fats or things like that
Mhm,
from your
mhm,
from your system, from your diet.
mhm.
Even if the point you were talking about with two spoons of sugar instead of three. Well, it's the
Right.
same thing with oils. Even the fact that you can now do certain things in the air fryer, you don't necessarily have to physically fry things anymore, or have all that oil and saturated fat in your body. I think that has made a big difference for me and a lot of people. So that's something else to the point that you're making, simple, that can
Right.
do some big things.
And that's the thing. You start off with the little things, the little changes, the little baby steps, like you mentioned, even the oils. Vegetable oil. They have like peanut butter, peanut oil. I think you can
Yeah,
use different things
olive
like that. That are
olive
just,
oil.
yeah, olive oil. They're just like healthy alternatives that don't really throw off your entire recipe, and you can just try it out. A, for an experiment. B, it could be like a little activity, something for you to do or entertain guests. And then you be like, oh, I didn't think it was going to turn out this well. And then
Yeah,
you switch it up and then you start, and then you just lean more and more and more to that side. And then next thing you're just eating super healthy. So you got your bases covered on that. You picked up some new recipes and some new conversational pieces that you can have with people. And so it's just like, what do they say? Snowball effect,
yeah, yeah.
and you just have that and it just keeps going and going and going. And so next thing you know, you're throwing these lavish dinner parties with all this healthy food and people are asking you like, oh my goodness, where did you get this recipe? Like
Yeah,
this is delicious. And you're like, well, it all started when I just switched up the oils,
that's
so
true. Yeah, no, that
yeah.
is true, man. Something else that came to mind when I was thinking about, what we were going to discuss on this episode.
Mm-hmm.
With everything that has been going on, with COVID and the global pandemic and all these other things, I think one of the things that we've been missing out on is that human interaction. The fact that
Mm-hmm.
we don't have an opportunity to hug each other or to shake each other's hands or to
Mm-hmm.
just even be in each other's energy because there's a 6 foot rule. So I think that's one of the things that has started to affect people mentally. I remember going to Anthony Robbins. He's a motivational speaker, and going to one of his. It's called Mastery University, and he
Okay.
talked about 6 principles that individuals must have to have a high quality of life, and one of those principles is human interaction. And I think that has now been taken away to a degree for obvious reasons. But what do you think?
Mm-hmm.
What is your approach or on, first of all, where we are with human interaction, but how are we to, as humans, fill that void, if you will, so that we can maintain a level of mental sanity, if you will, from something that we need so desperately?
Mm-hmm. No, I wholeheartedly agree that just human interaction, human touch, it's such a huge part of our lives, regardless if you get it or not. Just the power of a hug. Like when was the last time you had a hug from a friend?
Right.
And you just remember how good it feels and how genuine it is. And it's just like just knowing that someone cares, and it's just the power to literally reach out and touch someone. I mean,
Yeah.
we need that. I mean, we humans are a species of um of that need interaction. We need to feed that interaction. You know, we need to have communication. We're not solitary creatures, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So that really just goes against our nature. You know, we you know, thousands of years ago we banded together in tribes and formed villages and cities. You know, there's a reason for that, because if that wasn't the point, we'd still be living in caves or in the woods or somewhere, you know, like by ourselves. So basically we need that. And it's a huge component of mental health, social health. You know, when you can feel someone's body language, and you know they come in and they're just like they need a hug, and you give them a hug or they give you a hug, and automatically you go from a 4 to a 10 or a 4 to a 8. You know, it just makes your day that much better. And they didn't even have to say anything. You know, like they automatically understand. I could tell you how many times when I was on my hospice rotation, you know, and I would see some of these elderly patients, and as far as like mental health, some of them, their mental health would deteriorate. And, you know, I could tell, you know, when you get older, a lot of people have dementia, you know, and that's just an aging process. Sometimes, you know, some people are predisposed to it, and sometimes it's just, like I said, it's just a age-related process. But not having that human interaction speeds that up. When you aren't forced to respond to certain stimuli, you know, someone talking to you, someone asking you a question, someone reaching out to touch you, you don't have that stimuli, your body and your mind kind of like shuts that off. Like you just sit there, you know. Why get up? No one's coming in the door. Why do I need to look nice? Or why do I need to wash my face? No one is going to see me today. Or why do I need to change my shirt and take a bath and have this hygiene, because no one's going to touch me. No one's going to be within 6 feet of me to give me a hug. So you just skip all of those steps. And then now you're just sitting here and you're just, you know, in your own funk, basically. And so, you know, it's a huge component of mental health, of physical health. And it's just like, you know, it's just the disease process. And so you can see the mind goes that much quicker when you don't have those things. And so that's why just the power of a hug is so, you know, such a major thing. And now with the pandemic, you know, the whole 6 feet, you know, people are scared to get into, you know, one another's spaces. While I do agree, you know, you need to stay within 6 feet so you don't spread COVID, I also believe that the power of human interaction is something that's needed. And even the power of just a hug, like hugging a friend, or, you know, reaching out to give a handshake. You know, we've gotten away from a lot of that. A lot of that is, you know, fist bumps just for sanitary reasons, which, you know, I can agree on. But, you know, there's nothing like giving someone a firm handshake to seal the deal, or giving someone a firm handshake and looking them in the eye. And it's just like, all right, you know, like you already know where we're going from here. Like this person is on board with what we're doing, versus just some, you know, nonchalant, like, hey, bro, you know, like, so the body language is such a huge component in it. And then, like I said, just the mental health aspect, you know, responding to stimuli, just the physical aspect, the tactile, you know, having someone touch you and just being excited, you know, being excited for the day. If you know your best friend's coming over, or your boyfriend or your girlfriend, or, you know, your aunt or your mom, you know, they're coming over, you're excited. And so, you know, now you're excited to want to do things, and you want to clean up the house, you know, clean up the room and open the windows and let the sun come in. And, you know, you get going and you get the blood pumping, and, you know, and once you start doing that, you start getting the lymphatics going and you start moving around. And like I said, you know, you hop in the shower because you got to have good hygiene, and now you smell nice and you look nice. And, you know, so it's just, like I said, it's the snowball effect. So it plays into it. So I would agree wholeheartedly.
That's a good point, man. And you know, it kind of bring back to my memory, my thought, even when I was young. And I'm a big believer, by the way. I'm a big believer in energy, you know, good energy, bad energy. I'm a big believer in energy. As a matter of fact, I talk about that a lot in my book, my new upcoming book, The Mindset of a Champion. Shameless plug.
Okay. Hey, man. Listen, you got a book, bro. Not too many people can say that.
Right.
So, hey, with the chest, man. Come on.
I know, right?
Got it, man.
But I talk about that because I'm a big believer in energy. I can remember even, you know, as a little boy, my grandma used to, you know, she was laying on the sofa just sleep, you know, just taking a nap or whatever have you. And I would inevitably, just kind of tip up behind her. And because my intention was to, go up and snatch her wig off. That was my intention. But you know what? Every time, as soon as I got close to her, she would wake up. I mean, think about that. Have anybody ever been, asleep in a room or whatever, and somebody can open the door or just walk in the room, and all of a sudden you wake up? It's
Mm-hmm.
because that energy is real. I've been blessed to be able to shake somebody's hand and tell whether they're a winner or a loser, and that's
Mm-hmm.
because either they're going to give you energy or they're going to drain you.
Mm-hmm.
So energy is real. So when you're talking about the human interaction, a lot
Mm-hmm.
of is the fact that you're either exerting or exuding energy. People call it charisma, whatever you want to call it.
Right. Right.
That stuff is important in addition to everything that you talked about. So yeah, man, I think that's very important for us to be aware of. And something else with that, when you start to think about it, a lot of people um, have now gotten into the mindset just based on being shut down so long with the virus and things of that nature. They don't want to go back to work.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to. I mean, the unemployment rate is high. People want to kind of put it all on the fact that certain states are allowing unemployment insurance, but that's not totally the case. A lot of it is people just don't want to go back to a job. Their mindsets have changed. Their mindsets have expanded. Can you kind of talk a little bit about that from your perspective in terms of people who how they think? And again, we're still talking about mental health, but not even want to go back to a job.
Yeah, I can definitely talk about that. And then I do want to circle back towards the whole dementia thing. But so I know in certain states, a lot of people have been, taken off just because of, unemployment. A lot of the jobs that, were hiring were offering minimum wage. And, a lot of people are like, well, I can go out, apply for this job, interview for this job to, show that I apply and interview for this job because that's what the government requires you to do in order to get, unemployment. You have to actively be searching for employment. You can't just get checks for free. So,
Right.
so you go out, you search for a job, you get an interview, you schedule it, or you may even show up for the interview. They may give you the job, they may not. Say they give you the job and they're paying minimum wage, you're going to turn that down because you're like, well, this unemployment is paying the same, if not more, than what you're paying me to come in. Why am I going to risk my health, or my time in a pandemic, state that we're in when I can make the same amount, if not more, from the government, so you have a lot of that going on. You have a lot of people feeling like they've been overworked or they just have this burden on them because of the pandemic, because of COVID. A lot of people are overworked. There are a lot of new rules and regulations now. So you find that, one person who only had 3 or 4 tasks now, they might have 7 or 8 tasks due to COVID, due to these new restrictions and regulations. You have to wear masks, you have to have on proper PPE. You have to tell the customers, you guys have to line up, and you all of a sudden you're required to do so many extra things, but your pay does not increase. So it's just like, hey, you used to pay me, $20 to do this job, and I did it well, and now you're paying me $20 to do the same job, plus you want me to do 5, 6, 7, 8 new things without a promotion, without a job title, new job title, or more money in my pocket. So it's a burden on these people. And so they're like, hey, I'm either going to scale it back at work or I'm just going to quit and seek unemployment because, like I said, if you're going to pay me minimum wage, I can get the exact same, if not more, from the government. Yeah. So it's almost like a perpetual cycle. So the pandemic has definitely stifled that and has put a burden on that. And then you have these, your honest everyday workers who do like their job, do want to be there, do love their career. But like I said, you have this burden, this extra burden of the pandemic. So now my job used to be enjoyable, and now it's is becoming a stressor. You know what I'm saying? It's stressing me out because now my boss, we have all these new meetings and all these new regulations, and I'm missing this new thing here and this new thing here. And because I'm adding on this side of life, I'm taking away from another side of life, you know, which may be that social aspect. Well, you know, I may not get home an hour or two later now. I may miss out on Johnny's baseball game now, you know, because I had plans, but now I have to make sure all the hand sanitizer, you know, things are filled. Now I have to, you know, double check these things that I didn't have extra before. Yeah. And you're not paying me extra for this. You're paying me the exact same. So yeah. But what I will say as far as the health standpoint, I guess, perspective going forward on that is when you do have a job and you get out of the house, you have a job and you actually have a routine, like, you know, Monday through Friday or whatever days your job is scheduled. You have a routine that forces you to get out the house or get up and do something because you have to get paid. Right. It kind of feels more like real life to me. When I was in the hospital, when I was on rotation, seeing patients in the midst of the pandemic, in the midst of COVID, you know, everyone was, you know, at home on Zoom meetings. And for the first time in a long time, I actually felt some sense of normalcy because I was just like, hey, this feels normal again. I'm getting up and I'm, you know, getting dressed and ready for work and got my cup of coffee and getting in the car and, you know, now it's off to work to, you know, and I'm coming home at 5, 6 o'clock and this feels normal. This kind of feels right. It doesn't really feel like I'm in a pandemic life anymore. It feels like normal life now. So having a job or just having some sort of routine does help you feel like you're having this normal life versus Monday through Friday. I wake up and I just hop on my computer and have these Zoom meetings and I'm stuck in my room and I'm stuck in this, you know, 10 by 10, you know, and it's like, I don't see anyone else. I don't get human interaction. I'm afraid to go out now because when I turn on the news, there's all this craziness going on, all this violence going on. It's this new strain. It's this vaccine. It's these complications with this vaccine. Is, you know, and so it's almost like, I don't want to say fear mongering, but it's almost just like, you know, they drudge up so many negatives. And so if you're stuck in your house and it's only you and you turn the news on from Monday to Friday and all you see is negative stuff, I'll be afraid to go out too. You know, and so at that point you start to fear for your life. Is it safe? You know, you want me to come over and drop off a gift, or you want me to come over and drop off a box? Is it safe? Are you sure? You know, like, do I need to be in bubble wrap? And so now you're kind of like stepping out, inching out to the door, but you kind of feel hesitant about it. Like you feel hesitant about going to your car and driving 20 minutes to see a friend and drop off a gift, where someone who has a normal routine and a normal job Monday to Friday or whatever day it may be, that to them, it's just like, it's a piece of cake. This is normal. Like, hey, I get up 8 o'clock every day, go to work, come home 5, you know, like that's normal. Right. And so you have that sense of normalcy. So you're not as afraid. I see there's a lot more fear in people who are just like at home more, who are at home more so than people who actually get out and do stuff, regardless if they have to, if they're obligated to, or they just want to. And a lot of it deals with the pandemic, you know, COVID, fears, I get it. But when you go out and you come back and realize you didn't die, you're just like, hey, it's not that bad. So that ties into a health standpoint where you don't feel like you're trapped in a box. You know what I'm saying? You don't get claustrophobic. You're not like, hey, I'm trapped in my apartment and I can't get out. And now you just start to feel anxiety. Now you're getting anxious, and now you're getting these, you know, palpitations, and now your heart's racing, and it's just like someone's at the door. Who is it? It's the UPS guy, but your heart's just racing because you're like, I haven't seen another person in real life in 3-4 days. Like who could that be? You know, and so now you're afraid and you're living in this constant state of fear or this constant state of anxiety or this constant state where you just have your adrenaline going because you're just like, oh, you know, like
you trip me out. Like, I went to the store,
everything.
Went to the store and came back and I really didn't die.
And I see a lot of that from people. When I have conversations with people, and you know, half of the people I talk to are just like, hey, you know, regular, hey, it's Tuesday. Did you watch the game last night? You know, and then the other half people I see are like, are you sure you want to go out? Are you sure? I mean, I want to go to the gas station, but I'm not sure because of COVID. And it's just like, well, when was the last time you like left your apartment? Well, it's been like 2 weeks. And I'm just like, it's not that bad. Like it's still a whole world out there. You have to live your life. You have to get out, and so you almost have this sense of fear and this burden on these people, and they just are really anxious and just have this high, anxiety. And it's just like it can turn into general anxiety, which you're worried about everything now. You're no longer worried about your safety, but it starts to become everything. Like you turn the TV on and you see all this craziness, and
Yeah.
and going back to what I mentioned early in the hospice setting with some of the elderly people,
Mhm.
and if they didn't see a nurse or they didn't see family members, I could see how they would deteriorate so quickly mentally. Um, I could tell you, someone who just got admitted to hospice, who just came in, maybe with it, versus someone who has been sitting in the hospice for, a month, 2 months, and no one has come to visit. And it's
Mhm.
just like, it's the saddest thing ever because, you'll see the family members and the family members will be like, grandma or granddad was, completely with it when we dropped them off and we came here and we got them set up and, they had poker night with the fellas or they had a book club or they were gardening and they were just, they were with it. They were like, they had a favorite show. They would watch Golden Girls. They would
Yeah.
sit and talk to you or pull out pictures about how you seen my grandkids, stuff like that. They'll be engaging and interactive. You leave someone in a room for a week, 2 weeks straight without providing that stimulus, that stimuli, having someone talk to them and engage them, and they're literally just staring at the wall all day and there's nothing going on TV, if you don't use it, you lose it. And
Yeah.
that's with anything. That's with physical muscle, that's with mental, acuity. And it's not like you consciously want to lose it. You're not like, well, Johnny didn't come by anymore, so I'm just gonna forget who the hell Johnny is.
Yeah.
When in actuality, when Johnny comes by and you're just like, who is this person? I don't know who this person is. And now everyone is like, Grandma, you okay? This is Johnny. You and Johnny used to be cool for the past 5 years. And now it looks like you have this amnesia and you're just like, I don't remember this person. I don't remember. Now I'm afraid who's the new, and it's just like you go from, 0 to 10, really quick. And it's just like, I used to remember everything, and now I can't even remember where I put my keys. Now I can't
Yeah.
remember, I left it, but it's not because you want to forget. It's because you're not actually doing those things anymore, or you're not being pushed to do those things. So mentally, you just deteriorate so much faster when you're not, you know, engaged
Yeah.
with other
Yeah.
people or other things. And so, I can see a lot of that happening too, just being stuck in this pandemic, COVID, stuck in your apartment, you're not engaging people, you're afraid, you get this anxiety, fight or flight. Every time you talk to this person, there's some kind of, did you see the gloom and, the politics, all this gloom and doom out here? And it's
Yep.
just like, dude, can you tell me something positive? Like, it's sunny outside. Let's let's
Yeah,
go do
man.
something else. Like,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think that's important. I do agree. And, it doesn't cost anything to be nice to someone, give them a smile, even if you're in a nursing facility or, something like that, and just smile at people or whatever it may be. It doesn't cost you anything. It's very important to a lot of people. Some of those people are so lonely to the point that you made. A lot of people just die alone there. And that's just so sad, but we have to make sure that we're continuously, focusing in on humanity. So much of humanity is lost. Also, a side note, this has nothing to do with anything that we're talking about, but when I mentioned humanity, this just kind of popped in my mind, the whole thing that's going on in Cuba. You know, um, Regardless of where people are, anywhere on the planet, when regardless of their politics, regardless of their religious beliefs, regardless of their ideologies or whatever it is, at the end of the day, we don't ever want to see people beaten, abused, not having food, just treated less than a dog. We don't want to see that. And a lot of that's happening in Cuba. And they're fighting for their independence, their freedom, democracy, and some of the things that, just people need. And we were talking about just human needs. Well, even if you can't physically do anything, let's pray for our neighbors down south, if you will. Because again, these are human beings. You take yourself out of the equation and just think about, or take your ideologies out of the equation and just think about people as human beings, regardless of where they are, what they're doing. So I think that's really important. It just kind of popped in my head, like I said, not really having to do with the topic at hand. But one thing that I did want to touch on that I think was important, and I did get some of these questions, by the way, from some of the individuals from our previous episode, and you talked a little bit about medications, and one of the things that's in the African American and Latino community is the fact that we have to take so many medications, whether it's for hypertension, high blood pressure, whether it's for elevated blood sugars, whether it's for diabetes, whether it's for whatever it may be, on so many medications. Now, I know this and you know this, but I got this question so many times that I kind of want you to touch on it a little bit more. What is it that the average person who's having to take, high blood pressure, or taking metformin for, sugar levels, and, trying to get the A1C and all this down, what is it that people can do that will allow them to eventually get off of these medications? Now, let me put my disclaimer in. Like I said before, neither one of us, we're not giving medical advice or anything like this. Do your due diligence, do your research, but just from common sense things. If what can we do as a community to get off all of this medication? We know a lot of it is about other people making money, greedy. We already know a lot of that's the case, but that doesn't mean we have to fall into the trap. So what is it can we do, what we can do?
So I want to address, definitely want to address that, Sam. And the whole Cuba thing, just to quote, Martin Luther King, when he said, "And injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." I mean, that's real, So, I'm glad you took a moment for that. As far as the medications, like, people who are on like ACE inhibitors, like lisinopril, people who are on like metformin for their diabetes, so first and foremost, lifestyle modification is always first line treatment over anything, over any drug, over any surgery, because that's something that you can control. The patient, you being the patient, that's something the patient can control. So if you go to see your primary care physician, they may, depending on how bad it is, if it hasn't been going on too bad, or if you don't show up, to the clinic and your blood glucose is through the roof, chances are, well, they should tell you that lifestyle modification is number one. First and foremost, because it's free, and it's up to you. So you don't have to worry about, hey, can you afford this medication? Do you have medical insurance? I don't have to ask you any of these questions. Only thing we have to do, we have to determine your diet, like what's going on, what type of foods are you eating? Are they like high in sodium? Are you getting a good balanced diet? Is it not just meat? Are you eating vegetables too? Have to talk about that. Have to talk about exercise. Are you sedentary? Are you just sitting on the couch all day, or do you actually get up and are you active? So in order to lower your blood pressure and your glucose levels, if you're a diabetic, if you just eat healthy, and if you feel your sugar's dipping, like if you feel kind of dizzy, or you feel, eat a snack. They tell people to have a snack or a piece of candy by. Have that by, so you're not, fainting. You're not just like, oh, I haven't had anything to eat all day. That's the worst thing you can do is, show up to the doctor and say, hey, I have this headache, doc. I have, I don't know what's going on. My stomach hurts, but I haven't had anything to eat all day. Yeah. Well, there's your problem. I mean, your body needs nutrients,
fuel.
Your body needs fuel. So you have to eat. You just have to make sure what you're putting in your body is the right thing for you. You're not eating these processed foods with all this, sugar, and if you're diabetic, you're not eating things that are just are going to throw your levels way off, chocolate covered donuts and, all sorts of candy like that.
Killing
For
me, bro.
hypertension, same. Hypertension. I know, right? But the thing is, it's so easy. It's so easy for hypertension. Same thing. You really want to exercise. You want to exercise. If you exercise, if you lose weight, if you're overweight, you lose weight. That'll definitely help.
Yeah.
If you exercise and you just stay active and get your body moving, your blood pressure will go down because your heart will become used to this strain. You know, when you exercise 30 minutes a day, strenuous exercise, after a while, your heart becomes used to like, hey, we're running today. Let's beat
Right.
faster. Let's beat harder.
Right.
So, you know, and you can pump blood more easily through your body when you do that. And so if you start exercising, at some point, your body can just handle its own load. Your heart can handle the load of, hey, I can pump this blood out, no problem. You know, heart rate doesn't have to go up this high for me to pump out this much blood. It's as simple as that. So if you work out, you know, your heart becomes stronger. It's a muscle, just like, you know, any other muscle in your body. It pumps harder, pumps, you know, faster. It doesn't require as much oxygen. You're not out of breath, you know, and so now you get used to, hey, I used to walk up these flight of stairs and I used to be winded. Now I can walk up these stairs and I'm okay. You know, like I barely broke a sweat.
Right.
Your blood pressure is gonna go down. If you couple that with eating right, like I said, you don't eat a lot of fatty foods, a lot of salty foods, a lot of processed foods, a lot of fast foods. You actually pay attention to what you're making, like we talked about earlier with the different cooking oil.
Right.
You know, you start off with that. You're not heavy-handed with all the spices, the salt. You got a good mix of grains in there. Your hypertension, you know, your blood pressure will go down, and your glucose, if you're not just eating these, you know, crazy snacks, will go down. It's important to monitor that. And with that being said, your physician will know, hey, like, are you past the point of lifestyle modification? And at which point they'll put you on certain medications, but even then you still want to see if that medication is right for you, because there are different medications for blood pressure. Right. You know, so there are different, I mean, ACE inhibitors, ARBs, people use beta blockers. Yep. There are different medications for hypertension. So you want to make sure you're on the right one. You want to make sure it's conducive to your health insurance, your coverage, your wallet, because a lot of times that's a problem too. You know, I can prescribe you something, the doctor can prescribe you something, you go out, but you can't afford it. What good is that going to do?
Right.
Another thing is compliance or just healthcare literacy. Mm-hmm. So basically, it's like, if you come in, you have hypertension, I give you these pills to take. I use, let's say, lisinopril, but you don't know how to take them. You don't know, do I take it once a day? Do I take it twice a day, 3 times a day? And you will be amazed, if it says twice a day on the bottle, how many people just take 2 pills at one time? Or if it says 3 times a day, how many people take them all at once? Right. Versus, hey, you're supposed to take one during breakfast, one for lunch, and one at dinner. You know, morning, noon, and night. Some people just take all 3. Well, I took 3, and then they just tank and faint, you know, because their blood pressure goes so low. But a lot of people don't understand that because they don't have that health literacy to actually understand, hey, I'm only supposed to take these, like, you know, every 4 hours, every 6 hours. Even on top of that, you're only supposed to take, like, some medication works better with food. And so it works best with food. And that's because when you eat, it increases the absorption rate of the medication, which increases the efficacy of the medication. So some people are like, hey, I have to take this pill, you know, for my condition. You take it, and I feel a little bit better, but I don't feel all the way better. If you take the same pill, but you have a light snack with it, the efficacy like goes up like by 30% or, you know, some crazy number like that. And you're like, hey, it's really working now. I can feel the effect. Exactly. And you want to get A, what you pay for, B, you want it to benefit yourself and your body, and you want it to be within the optimal range. No one wants to take medication that's only going to suboptimally help them. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you do something? Why would you take something that's like, hey, this is 50% effective, or you can take this, which is 90% effective. You're taking the same thing. The only difference is you're eating with one of them and the other you're not. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just kind of like you want, exactly, you want to know, how do I take this? Because so many people don't understand that. And
Well, I shouldn't say common sense. Let me take it back. Like you said it best, health
No, it's
literacy.
health
Health
literacy.
literacy.
It's,
Yeah,
it's not even common sense because
yeah,
if
yeah.
you
Health
handed
literacy.
me a bottle and it said take these pills 3 times a day or 3 pills a day, I don't know. I
Right.
mean, I just want to take them all at once now so I can knock them out and just forget about it and don't
Yeah,
have to keep remembering or carrying these pills in my pocket all day. Let me just take them all at once in the morning, or I
yeah,
just take them all at night before I go to sleep,
yeah,
and that'll be that, right? Well, you go home, you take them all at night before you go to sleep, and then you pass out and you wake up on the side of the bed,
yeah.
and in somebody's ER, and they're like, "What happened?" I don't know. I was going down to go to sleep, and then I passed out and fell and hit my head. And it's like you're not supposed to take them all at once. You know
Right,
what I'm saying? Like it's crazy that people don't know that, but it's not that people don't know that. It's some people don't know that. Some people are afraid to ask just because they don't want to seem stupid for whatever reason, which I think is crazy. Because it's like, hey, this is going in your body. Why
yeah,
would you not know like how to take this or how to maximize the effect of this? You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? And so if like I said, if I could give you something and do you want it to have 50% efficacy or do you want it to have 90%? You want to take it the way to get your blood pressure down the most,
yeah,
to get
yeah,
it down the quickest, without you actually breaking the bank. So
yeah.
why are you going to spend $20, $30 every time for a script, but you're only getting 50%? You're wasting money at that point, and now you're actually poisoning your body because you're putting extra medication that doesn't need to be in there, but not because you mean to, because you just don't know how to take it correctly. So you need to get that information from either the physician, the pharmacist, or the nurse if they have that knowledge. How to take it. Do I take it with food? Do I take it all at once, every 6 hours? Do I take it as needed? Sometimes you take medication as needed. It's like a headache. I don't take it all the time, like a prophylactic, like just in case. I
Right.
take it when I feel it coming on. And
Yeah.
some medication is like that too, because every medication has adverse effects.
Right.
So you don't want to be taking medication that has adverse effects when you're just like, I'm just taking it just because, I have the bottle and it says just once a day. You're only supposed to take it as needed. Like if it says as needed, take it as needed. Don't take it just because. And now you start to get these negative effects. I don't understand why I have a headache. I don't understand why my stomach hurts.
Yep.
I don't understand why, what I'm saying? I feel, lightheaded and dizzy. Well, it's like, well, you took too many of them, or you didn't eat, or have anything to drink, or you took them all, all at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's going to have a negative effect. It's kind of like, what is it? When people take like sleeping pills,
Mm-hmm.
to go to sleep, like, what is it? Like NyQuil or something like that. You take it and it knocks you out. But if you don't read the instructions, like may cause drowsiness, if you don't read any of that, and
Yeah.
someone has you, hey, Sam, I need you to take these pills for your blood pressure. You take them, twice a day. And so you're just like, hey, I'm gonna take these in the morning before I go to work, so I don't forget about them.
Yeah.
You take them in the morning, you show up to work, and then you're just woozy and falling out, and everyone's looking at you, and you're like, no, this is just my medication for my blood pressure. It's not, you didn't read that it has these adverse effects, and maybe you can time this adverse effects with being at home or laying down, on the couch or in
Yeah.
bed. So when they do kick in, you're in an environment that you can actually control this better. Like I can just lay back, like, hey, I'm not going to faint and fall and hit my head on the floor. I'm already laying down on the couch.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of people don't understand that, and health literacy is really big. And like I said, a lot of people either don't have the education, are too afraid to ask. They have issues with being compliant with medication. Maybe they can afford it, maybe they can't. Some people, for the life of me, just like antibiotics, how they don't finish a regimen. Like,
Right.
oh, I'm feeling better. The doctor gave me 10 pills, but I just felt better after 6, so I just stopped after 6.
Right.
It's like you have to take the entire regimen so they're sure that the bacteria is eradicated.
Right.
You can't just stop after 6. And so it's just kind of like, all right, well, if this is blood pressure medication and you're just like, well, I feel fine today, so I'm only going to take half a pill
Mm-hmm.
instead of the whole pill. And then you come back into the office and your blood pressure is still out of control. And I'm looking at you like, well, are you taking your medication? And you tell me yes. And I'm like, well, maybe the medication isn't working for you. Maybe we need to put you on something stronger, or maybe I need, you know, so now you're on this stronger medication that has even more adverse effects, but not because you really needed it, because you weren't really taking it how it was supposed to be taken. You were taking half the pill instead of the whole pill just because you just felt like it. And a lot of people do that too. So, you know, that's something that people really need to be informed about, what they're taking, what they're putting into their bodies, how they can maximize it, maximize the absorbance with food, you know, before bed, in the morning. You know, you just need to know certain things like that.
Yeah, that's good, man. I mean, that's some wisdom there. So, you know, you dropped some jewels. But I tell you what, man, we have to wrap up. I could talk to you all day and all night because you have
Yeah, man, of course.
much knowledge and so much wisdom. As a matter of fact, I'm hearing a book called Health Literacy by Dr. David Dukes.
Listen. Can I get a book and a movie or
hey, you know, book, movie? Hey, let's make it happen. You know,
cartoon,
I'm all about business opportunities. So hey, look,
listen, you and me both.
Let's make it happen.
you and me both, man. Yeah, and once again, thank you so much, Sam. I really appreciate you having me on. You know, definitely have to segue. My LinkedIn is just my name, David K. Dukes, okay. Or people can reach out to me. Facebook, it's just my name. Once again, it's David Dukes. And then Instagram, all one word, is Awesome Dave 2021. So people can reach out to me, ask me questions, you know, and I'd love to chat with them. And I would also, Sam, love to play you in Madden at some point. You know, like I'm sick of beating my cousin. Shouts out to my cousin Brandon, man. I've been beating him a lot, and now I'm just kind of like, all right, Sam, you know, I don't know what we're waiting for.
A few years ago, you were cousin Brandon.
I don't know what we're waiting for, man. We might have to get you one of these blood pressure pills, you know, to lower your blood pressure when you pay me.
I think people gonna think I'm crazy, but I think I'm gonna take you on this skydiving deal. Maybe we go do the skydiving. I'm not scared of sky. I'd rather skydive than do roller coasters. I'll tell you that.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm with it. You know, I've already done that, and I say, man, you know, best case scenario is amazing. Worst case, you go out doing something that you love. You know, like you know, like.
We're not gonna talk about that worst case scenario. We just gonna claim. We gonna claim.
You're right. You're right.
Hey, look. But we gonna do that. We're gonna do the skydiving, and I'm gonna give you that Madden challenge. You know, you're never too old to get a butt whipping, so I guess I'm gonna have to do it again. So you know.
Listen, I'm ready for you.
Well, hey, look, man. In all sincerity, I truly appreciate you sharing all of the wisdom. Not just with me, but the entire Deep Dive podcast audience, people all over the world. You were so well received previously that, you know, we just had to have you back. So thank you again for all that you have done and contributed to all of us around the world. Continue to do what you're doing, my brother. And everybody, like you said, just follow him, stay in contact. Facebook, David Dukes. LinkedIn, David K. Dukes, and then the Instagram, Awesome Dave 2021. Just stay connected with this guy because, you know, he's going to be doing some great things. I know you are. I'm super proud of you, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you so very much for, you know, joining us on the Deep Dive podcast. And for everyone else, thank you again for joining us and taking your time. I know I don't take that for granted, so I really appreciate it. I do appreciate also if you'll like, subscribe, download, and share, because as we continue to grow the podcast around the world, we'll continue to empower people. So, Dave, I salute you, my friend, my brother. Keep doing what you're doing, and I'll see all of you on the beaches of the world. Have a good evening, everybody.